Welcome to Grit inside Manhattan Beach Studios, brought to you by Skyball Apparel. I'm Victoria Dennis alongside Meg Burgdorf, and joining us is the first ever AVP League champion, Geena Urango with the San Diego Smash.
Thanks, guys. It's really cool to be here, and I appreciate you asking me to be here too.
Yeah. We're super excited to have you because it's the first of the first, and you're bringing it in hot.
Absolutely. You're the first ever collegiate beach volleyball scholarship athlete, and now you're the first ever AVP League champion with the San Diego Smash with your partner, Tony Rodriguez, and of course the men, Miles Evans and Chase Budinger.
Yeah, it's the first collegiate thing, it's so weird because it's literally over almost 15 years ago, and it feels like yesterday. But yeah, I mean, winning the first ever AVP League championship was so cool and so rewarding, and so bittersweet because we were playing some of our best ball. We were peaking at the right time, and then we had to stop, and Tony had to fly to China, so haven't had an opportunity to celebrate. But yeah, such a rewarding experience.
And let's talk about your relationship with Tony. I love following it on Instagram. Your reels are hilarious. Tony has such a vivacious personality.
Yeah.
You are the veteran, grounded, calm, cool, and collected. How did you get set up in the blind dating of the beach volleyball world?
Yeah, we were both kind of looking for a partner right before Huntington, the AVP Huntington event. So in April time, I had reached out and kind of planted the seed. She was thinking through what she wanted to do. Obviously, I know that she has international as a goal of hers. Granted, it was the year of the Olympics, so international maybe per se wasn't like a huge priority or as big of a priority. So I think that weighed into her option of like, okay, I'm gonna put a lot of effort into AVP, which has always been my goal. And so with our goals being aligned and realizing, we probably would have some good chemistry on the court, we teamed up. She had gotten PRP in her knee, so she had taken 2 weeks off, so we didn't get as much time as we wanted in the sand together. And then a week before the Huntington event, we got to get in the sand together finally. And yeah, so it's been good. And obviously, such a really cool season, and the team development that we've had over the past 6-7 months has been really cool to see.
Team development in our sport is not talked about enough, and people seem to jump ship for whatever reason, being emotional or points or just because. How important is team development?
Yeah, I think it's pretty vital, especially if you have this common goal that you're going for. Like you said, points play a factor for some people. Immediate gratification or success is something else that people strive for, and I know that that's not the case. I mean, my career has had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, and I understand that that's part of the journey and part of the process. So for Tony and I, we really wanted to, I think the importance of team development is having not only the team, like Tony and I per se, but then the team around the team that we're all bought into and all pushing each other to achieve that goal. So, for example, we started working with Angela White, who's also known as Benny. She's the assistant coach for the beach volleyball program at LMU, working under John Mayer, and she was my first partner on tour for my first 4 seasons. So we have already an amazing friendship and relationship, and I think what she's been learning under John Mayer's umbrella and knowledge is, I see somebody, an athlete like Betsy Flint, right? Who has been so amazing and so successful in her entire career. And I just think that what she's learned from John Mayer, I was like, there's something there, right? And so it was a learning curve for both Tony and I, because it is such a different philosophy on how they train. And it was frustrating at times, but I think that we can get more into it, but I think that it was so vital in our success. And I also think that you guys recently had Dr. Justin Blake on, who is my sports psych, and he started working with Tony closely as well. So it was, she has the most amazing growth mindset, and she was so open this entire year, and I can't thank her enough for being willing to try these new things and to be bought into this new type of system or way about, working together as a team, as a unit. So having that like team behind us, and obviously our friends, family, everybody else was super supportive, but those two people I think were very implemental in our success.
Yeah, I kind of want to hear about the differences in the team development and the relationship with coaching, because there's a lot of young girls going through the collegiate program. Mm-hmm. You started us off on that way, which was amazing, but it has changed. And those women or men who have gone through a different pathway might not have had the structure and the whole team feeling behind it. What are some of those differences on the pro side as you kind of continue to grow into a league champion?
Yeah. It's tough because I do think after college, right, you have that autonomy of, you're like, okay, how much do I want to train? Do I want to pay for a coach? Do I have the money to pay for a coach? There's all these different factors that are different from when you're a kid or a college athlete, where you're told what to do, how much to train, where to be, lifting, all of that is taken care of, right? So I think it's a learning process, and I've definitely learned what works best for me. And with a new partner or whoever you're playing with, you have to also learn what works best for each other. And for me, I've always known that I was like, I'm going to invest in my success, and I'm going to find a way to pay for a coach, because I think it's very important to have somebody who is not only holding you accountable, but able to be, another set of eyes, who's able to assess, tournament play, practice play, about like, okay, what's working, what's not, what do we need to focus on? So I just think in general, it's like, I just think having that relationship with a coach that believes in you, that you trust, that you have this very rewarding collaborative experience is pretty important for success in our sport, in all sports really. So not saying you don't, like it's possible to not work with somebody, but I just think that it is very, very helpful in all of that.
Was there ever a point in your professional career where you didn't have the opportunity to have a coach?
No, I've always had a coach.
A lucky duck.
I know.
What's interesting is in college, the coach is kind of the boss, because you have a whole squad,
right?
Either indoor or beach volleyball. That whole thing, boss tells me what to do. But as a pro beach pair, you really are the boss. So how do those relationships with the coach and the organization and the extended team, how does that power dynamic, or you're talking about the control or accountability helps you? How does that work?
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I've never seen it as like, I'm paying you to coach me. I'm like, I'm here because I believe in you and you believe in me, and we're working towards this common goal. So I've never seen it as that way, and I want everybody to feel equal in this process, because at the end of the day, like, we're all striving for that thing, and they're doing whatever they can to help us succeed. And obviously, if there's differing views, we talk about it. I just think communication is key. I think it's just like relationships, like just like that, the relationship I have with my beach volleyball partner or my boyfriend. You've got to have trust and communication. And in all of the people that I've worked with, I feel like it's always been that sort of experience. And so I just think we're all adults, and let's be mature about it, and let's, if there's an issue, let's talk about it. But I just think the collaborative experience is very important for all this.
Athletes come from a variety of socioeconomic backgrounds. For a young collegiate beach athlete graduating college, how does one find sponsorship?
Yeah, sponsorship is a whole different ballpark. I think I studied studied marketing in college with communications, and I always knew I wanted to be in the digital marketing space. And I feel like that background of what I learned in school helped me develop a brand for myself. One thing I've learned with my manager, Kashi, who's been amazing, is how to develop your own brand. So I think for athletes who are coming out of college, the most important thing is finding out, like, what is your brand? Like, what values do you want to embody, or do you embody? What are your interests? What is your niche? Like, yes, we're all beach volleyball players, but everybody is unique in their own way. And how can you use that in a way that's not just for philanthropic work, but also, for yourself. So for me, yes, I have played into the Hispanic card, right? Like, I'm Mexican. I think that diversity is important in our sport. So I've used that in a way to work with brands that also want to help promote that, embody that, whatever I can do to help the Hispanic community have girls look up to, et cetera. Let's see what else. So that's just one example per se, where I've created this brand and I've tried, and the other thing is to find sponsors or brands in general that share those values, right? Because I think that it comes off a little ingenuine if if I'm like, hey, I drink this energy drink, when I'm like a very healthy person, So I just think that there's so many opportunities. There are so many brands out there, so many small businesses, and the opportunities are there. It's just a matter of finding them and finding ones that fit you, right? And so my biggest advice for those coming out is to learn about yourself, what that is, and to find brands that coincide with that.
Let's dive into the AVP league, dissecting it here.
That's the biggest brand, really, in beach volleyball.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, so it's the first season that we've seen of the league, and we broke down the structure of the league on Grit. So you can scroll down and click on that video if you need even in more depth description of how it looks. Geena, you played in it, so you know it inside and out. Not only did you play, but you won it on your first try. Were you expecting to win?
I wasn't expecting anything. For me, I was really honed in on just taking care of what we could control. Because obviously with the league, the way it's structured, there's a lot of things that are out of your control. So we couldn't control how our men's team did that we were paired with, right? They couldn't control how we did. We can't control how other cities did, and obviously it came down to the end where we needed certain cities to beat other cities, and everything just worked out in our favor in order to make the championship. But yeah, ultimately, I mean, I wasn't expecting anything. Yes, sitting with last place for a good amount of time during that league season did light a little fire under our butts, and when we knew like anything was possible. There was still a lot of variables that could change. But yeah, I was just trying to stay present and, play the best that we could.
Dr. J talked about staying present, and one of my takeaways from him was to wiggle my toes wherever I am.
Yeah.
And when you wiggle your toes, you're only thinking about your toes. So I actually find myself doing that now, like whether I'm at work or even just like playing for fun and like at the service line. I really like that takeaway. How does it feel playing 3 sets to 15?
Yeah, at first it was definitely something I had to adjust to, because with such a quick set, you need to either jump the gun early, right? If you can get a quick lead, that'd be awesome and helpful. Or you got to stay pretty close and side out in that realm. But because, I think it was like, there was one weekend, I think we started down 1-4 both sets. And it was like, we started down then the 1-4, and then we were pretty much side out, back and forth, but we could never play catch up because it's really hard. There's not enough time. If you're playing a set to 21, you've got a little bit more time to develop that momentum, have the technical timeout to discuss things. So there was definitely different strategies that were put into play for this. And yeah, making sure that you just like were ready to go right from the start and had that game plan ready to go also.
And that could have been a little hard to be ready to go because there's not necessarily another court to warm up. You're under lights, changing situations throughout each day. What did that feel like preparing to step on ready to go?
Yeah, the short warm-ups was definitely an adjustment also. I think Tony and I had this way about it where we would try to jump on the court whenever we could the match before. so that we could try to get the legs moving and get on the sand as much as we could. We're also allotted a certain amount of time to be able to get on the court before, like during the day before the first evening matches. So we make sure to get lots of good touches there and to get our bearings, learn the surroundings, learn how the ball is going to be different. So it was definitely a challenge, but everyone adapted, I think.
Well, the events are so cool. I love the arena feel, and it feels like the structure a little bit like collegiate, where you have the duels happening between the pairs, but the duels are men and women's.
Right.
How is that looking to grow within the AVP?
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm aware of, it looks like it'll be pretty similar next year, and obviously I know they want to grow the amount of cities. I've always thought what would be really cool is if in the future there's 3 to 5 women's teams or 3 to 5 men's teams per city, and that would make it way more like college dual.
Right.
Because I just think that there's, especially on the women's side, there's so many talented athletes that haven't gotten, like, obviously this was the first year and they're testing things out, but there's so few opportunities if this is the way it's going to be. So I hope that the growth shows something like that in the future, and I think it would make it just as exciting. I think then if you have a team of 3 to 5 teams, you're able to train together and help each other out, or mix and match if you've got to switch partners up. So that would be cool to see one day. And obviously the college format has shown that it works.
Yeah.
And people love it.
Yeah, that's so funny that you said that, because I've also been saying that I'd like to see it to grow to that point where it is like the college duel and you have San Diego and Brooklyn playing each other, but it's just those two teams on that weekend.
Right.
Because you'll have X amount of games already with the teams playing.
Right.
Yeah. And I think 3 pairs might be the sweet spot on the pro side of things. And
Yeah.
you can have, others on the rosters as alternates. But I like that it might also shake up what partnership in beach volleyball actually is, because we know it's kind of the missing component to your own success is finding that partner to do it. Talking about the fansmanship and the growth and having the team with the guys, which is super cool. We saw like the balance and the energy and supporting. Do you think that's re-educating the beach volleyball fans? And did you feel the concept of San Diego Smash was a bigger brand than just individuals?
Yeah, I did feel that. I felt like at the championship, we had a decent amount of fans cheering for us. Obviously, I know it was a lot of friends and family, but it was pretty cool to feel that. And yeah, I think also the uniqueness of the camaraderie that we developed with our men's team was really cool. And on a side note, like we got lunch together, we had practices together, we did a day of no jump together. Miles is really good friends with my boyfriend Eric, and he came over 3 weeks in a row to watch film with me. So we did a lot of things outside of just training on our own and trying to play at the weekend, during the weekends. And I truly believe that was a catalyst for our success, because after the first weekend in UCLA, I asked the guys if they wanted to get lunch with us, because the first night I felt this weird, physically I think I played fine, mentally I was not in a good headspace, and I think it was because I felt this extra pressure that I was putting on myself to be like, okay, my success now is not just dependent, it is not just for Tony and I, it's on a team that I don't even have any relationship with, right? Where they've developed their own trust amongst each other. So I wanted to call this lunch just to be like, okay, look, like there's no pressure coming from us. We know you're gonna do your best, try your hardest, and that's all we can ask for. And I don't want to feel that pressure from you either. And they were like, no, of course there's no pressure. And so I think just like laying our cards out and getting that all on the table was really helpful for us, because we didn't have that pressure playing the rest of the weekends, So anyway, it was cool to develop that relationship with them, and they were so supportive the whole time and helping out in the box, helping out with scouting, and we were doing the same. So yeah, it was a really cool experience.
That's a testament to who you are with your character, being
thanks.
able to, absolutely. And that's how you see Tony bouncing off the balls and you're like, come down, girl, lowering that balloon down to the ground. But that is just, it's so cool to hear. And it's truly a reflection of who you are as a person and
Thank
your
you.
character. And in turn, a reflection of how you're able to go from last in the rankings to then winning the league at the end of the day. Looking at next year, people are already talking about next year. I mean, they can't help it, right? We all love the sport for everything it is. Are you thinking it's going to be a Friday, Saturday night or day? What does that kind of look like?
Yeah, I think next year they're planning on doing it on Fridays and Saturday nights to try to attract a bigger crowd. I also think having Saturday night be the end, it might be a good opportunity for us to do activation with the fans because we'll have, the evening free after we're done playing. So yeah, I think, and then I'm assuming it's going to be during the summer months. This year, obviously, we had to adjust given the Olympic schedule. So, and it'd be awesome to be San Diego Smash again.
Fan engagement was elite during the premiere of the AVP League. It was so fun to see all the socials, not only on the private accounts of the athletes, but of the AVP as well. When you travel outside of California, we're very spoiled in California, specifically Manhattan and Hermosa Beach. We have these athletes in our backyard. You take your dog on a walk and you'll see them. They're out there every morning if you want to check them out. But when you travel to Dallas, to Austin, Palm Beach, the fans come because it's not in their backyard and it's only going to get bigger.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I think just generating more awareness and the AVP continuing to expand their marketing would be helpful too. And then, yeah, I mean, in the summer months when we're not having to compete with football is definitely, I think, going to help the fan base also.
Yeah, some classic billboards around the cities that you're going to.
Well, at the Dignity Health Sports Park where we played the championship, they have their digital billboard off the 405. And I drove by and I saw they had something about the AVP championship, so that was cool.
I'm telling you, old school billboards work.
Yep.
When I'm on that 405 freeway, I didn't even know we have like a professional lacrosse league in the US, but now I do because I was in 405 traffic.
Nice.
Let's pivot a little bit here to your journey in your personal life. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, currently I am going through the egg freezing process. So I'm in day 5 of injections, and this has kind of been a decision of mine because I still feel like I have so much more to tap into in this sport. And I'm also not ready to have a child. And, Eric and I have been together a while. He's not ready, but that's okay. And for me, it's like I just want to be able to pursue my dreams and still have the option one day to have a child if and when that day comes, So I've taken upon myself to try to do this. It's been a very empowering and unique process, and I've gotten about another week of it or so, and then hopefully I'll get lots of healthy eggs and then have that to fall back on in the future.
And you've been very open about this, and sharing your journey has, obviously, don't say any names, but have you been able to talk to some people, have already reached out to you about this?
Yeah, it's been actually pretty amazing. I've been sharing a lot on social media, and the amount of women, and even men too, who have been not only supportive, or women who have shared with me that they went through this process and shared with me advice that they had when they were going through it, or women who are so curious and have been thinking about it. And I've had, multiple people have called me, and I've had 30-minute long conversations sharing with them everything that I've learned. And I've been working with this clinic, Halo Fertility in Palos Verdes, and they've been so helpful. And the doctor, my first meeting with him, I sat down and we had an hour-and-a-half longer conversation, and he taught me everything about it. And I was like, this is so interesting, and I wish I knew this like 10 years ago. And, obviously 10 years ago, I didn't know where I'd be now. But yeah, I just think it's so important to look into your options. And yeah, so it's pretty cool. And it's still weird and surreal that I'm going through this right now. But my parents are happy. My mom's happy, even though she wants a grandchild right now. But
So telling your former 10-year-old self,
yeah.
Here are some things to consider. Can you share some of those insights that you've learned already to maybe younger athletes that are embarking on this journey?
Yeah. While we're on the subject of egg freezing, I would say like think of your options, because obviously if you are wanting to pursue this at an elite level, yes, there are amazing women who have went and had a child and come back and done amazing things. Like I mentioned earlier, Betsy Flint is one of those. But it is tough, and I know that for me, you know, I think looking into your options early on will be very helpful, and you'll thank yourself in the long run. I think from an athletic standpoint, I think it's understanding that there, like I said, also there will be highs and there will be lows. So staying patient with yourself and trusting your process and finding out what works best for you on the sand, in the gym, with partners and chemistry and coaches. So, I mean, I've learned so much, and my process has evolved so much as I've gotten into my 30s. And so I just think that, just trusting yourself and knowing that you know yourself better than anybody. So, just finding the team around you that is going to support you.
What's the first step somebody should take if they're interested in this journey? Is it covered by healthcare? I don't even know.
For egg freezing?
Yeah.
Some places accept a little bit of insurance. Most of it is a little out of pocket though. But I just think that, like for example, Halo Fertility is amazing, and they will do whatever they can to make it work for you, even if that's some sort of payment plan or whatever discounts they can make happen. They just ultimately want you to be able to do this for yourself. And so there are clinics that will help you with that. So I'd say look at all options, talk to different clinics and see what's possible. And yeah, I mean, I think ultimately just having a consultation to start will answer a lot of your questions. Yeah.
Learning a lot myself.
Yeah, there you go. Well, next up for you is Europe. You're going on a little vacay, much deserved.
I know. After this is all said and done, I'm going to Europe for a little winter fun ski trip. And I always like to plan some sort of out of the country trip once season is done. So I always look forward to that. And that's what I got planned this year.
And then you get to ring in the new year with Tony and finally celebrate that AVP league title.
I know. Tony's in China, or she was in China. She's flying into India currently as we speak.
Won silver in China.
Yes, she won silver in China.
With Molly Shaw.
Yes, and that was really cool to watch. And then they go from India to the Philippines, and then she's here for 2 days while I'm in Cabo for a wedding, and then she goes to Louisiana. So January, after the new year, is when we will finally celebrate our
Pop another bottle of champagne. Looked like she needed a little help there from Australia's Thomas Hodges. That's helping her get the bottle open. Funny enough, who I went to college with, I was like, hey, I know that person.
Oh, that's right, UCI.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
So I have a burning question though before we finish.
Okay. Yes.
The belt.
Okay.
What are you doing with the belt? Are you wearing it around? Are you hanging it on your wall?
I saw her at Trader Joe's wearing the belt. No. Just kidding. That's how rumors get started. I didn't.
It was funny. We didn't know what we were going to get. I thought, I mean, AVP has done some different trophies and stuff, but yeah, when they gave us these belts, I was like, whoa. And then we handed it to us. I was like, whoa, this is heavy. Currently, it's just sitting in my office. Eric wanted to put it up on the wall in the living room. I'm like, no. Maybe I'll put a little shelf in my office. I have a couple pickleball medals in there, so I might add it to my pickleball.
That's right. You play on the pro pickleball tour.
No, I mean,
You played in some tournaments.
Yes, I didn't play 5.0 and 5.0 and up is pro. I played in the 3.5 and the 4.0, so I'm like.
But still.
Yeah. It was
very cool.
Yeah, I love it.
Are you going to play in a couple in the winter, spring here?
Yeah, my friend Nikki and I are playing in the Jingle Fest one. It's like the El Segundo one in beginning of December. And I mean, I've even throughout the whole season of volleyball season, I play it probably once, if not twice a week. And I swear that it has been so supplemental to my defense, because in pickleball, you're so close at the kitchen. And granted, the ball is not coming as fast as a volleyball, but it still comes fast, and you're so close that my hand-eye coordination has improved. My long, slow touches with with one arm has improved. So I swear that it's helped my game.
And the kitchen is that 5 feet from the net for those who are not avid pickleballers.
Yes.
So fun.
Yeah.
Well, I want to come out and support you. That would be so fun. I like pickleball, but I'm trying, like, I feel like because I've played volleyball for 2 decades, when I put something like an extended object in my hand,
it hits your hand.
my depth perception is just like not there. Like I feel like I can play genuinely most sports, but then when I get like a racket in my hand, I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, it's definitely an adjustment, and there's so many times where I played left-handed because volleyball is the only thing I do right-handed. And so there's times when it gets hit fast to my right, and instead of putting my paddle, I just like put my hand up. And I'm like, oh shoot. And then people laugh when I'm playing with it. They're like, oh, volleyball. I'm like, oh, I got the ball up though.
Yeah, it counts.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
This was so fun.
Yeah.
And you're welcome back anytime.
I appreciate it.
And keep us posted on all of your journeys.
I will, definitely.
Yeah. We'll reconvene in the spring here after pickleball.
Sounds good.
Well, thanks for tuning in, y'all. Make sure to like and subscribe here on Grit. We're available on all streaming platforms. Thank you for following along. Stay gritty out there.